Let's talk about the Backrooms. More specifically, we are talking about Dr. Kline here, who is played by Renate Reinsve, and I'm going to get more into her backstory. What exactly does it mean? Where does she end up in the end? And what did the Backrooms do to her? So, of course, spoilers ahead for Backrooms. I already did any explain for it where I go more in depth with the story and all of that. This is more specifically me just talking about Marie Kline, who is the therapist that Clark here, who is played by Chiwetel Ejiofor, has. I am doing a video on Clark as well tomorrow that will come out, so stay tuned for that. It's Backrooms weekend, y'all. We are just getting into all of the nitty gritty for it. I'm also doing a video on Async, so stay tuned for that. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, check out our other Backrooms video, and stay tuned for the rest by making sure that notification bell is turned on. Follow us on TikTok, Letterboxd, wherever you can, or Instagram. Really would appreciate that. So Dr. Marie Kline is Clark's therapist who is trying to sort of understand where Clark is coming from. He has this resentment. He has so many of his dreams being crushed. He has just separated from his wife. So she's unpacking a lot with Clark here, and it's taking a toll on her as well. And she is trying her best, right? We find out through some backstory throughout the whole film that the reason she probably became a therapist and wanted to help people is because nobody was able to help her mother when she was younger. Her mother seems to be this recluse that tries to keep her inside at all times. She is afraid of the real world, and I had a thought that floated in my head that what if her mother saw the Backrooms and maybe that's what happened. But of course that's just like a really out there theory. More so that her mom is mentally ill, and this is something that has been affecting her as a child. Eventually her mother has kept her in for so long, I believe, that CPS or the state got involved, and that's why we see that the door gets torn down for them to come in and I guess rescue Marie when she was a child. Her mother ends up being in an institution and taken away. And this pretty much leaves Mary on her own, and I feel like this is probably when she had an epiphany of sorts. I wish somebody was there for my mom. The more she grew up with this idea, the more maybe she felt a passion to go into therapy and to help others to break out of this cycle, break through the pan, as she says, through the glass. And this is something that we also hear Clark say at some point when he has completely snapped in the Backrooms, that he is following her advice and has broken through the glass. And for Clark, this means staying in the Backrooms, somewhere where he feels like he belongs. He doesn't feel like an outsider. Maybe he can achieve something here that he wasn't able to do back there. She sees that he is completely broken and has snapped. And I think that this sort of affects her a lot because it sort of reminds her of her own mother, and she feels like she failed at trying to save somebody else. But eventually we see that thinking to herself, like, I can't save everybody. I'm not this savior of sorts that's going to come in here with a magic wand or with magic words and Clark's gonna be fine. Like, this is who he is and I can't really save him. I can't even save myself because she is still reeling from this childhood trauma. She still carries the cement where her hand was imprinted with her mother when they first went into this home, and she carries it with her still to this day, thinking about it. You see when she goes to visit her childhood home that is now being torn down and condominiums are being a replacement for her home, that she still feels some sort of way about it all. She's not able really to move forward ever from this trauma until she faces the manifestation of Clark's illness, and that is with the still life that has taken the shape of Clark dressed up as the pirate, which sort of represents everything that Clark hates about himself right now, who he has become, sort of like an ego of sorts. When she faces this head on, she realizes that the only way that she can defeat it is by letting go of the past, by using the cement with her handprint that she did with her mom, by bashing its skull with it, and ultimately at breaking that trauma of sorts and hopefully overcome it. But she still has to overcome Async, which we'll get to in a bit. The way that everything's like a loop, and the Backrooms sort of represent the memories that happen here that aren't totally the same as we remember them. They're a little bit different or they get warped. And I think that's really a great way to showcase how our mind works, right? Because we remember certain things, but our mind kind of adds into it certain things we might not remember completely. Like, you cannot remember something to a specific detail and it's going to be the right way. Everybody remembers everything different. differently, just as the Backrooms does, and it just fills in the gaps as it can. I think we're seeing the same thing here with the memories that are left in the Backrooms. The Backrooms tries to fill it in as best as possible. So Marie maybe is remembering these pieces of what happened to her mother, but she can't remember it fully. And I think the same thing with Clark as well with his wife, and that's why they sort of try to make it into a whole other story than maybe what it was. But by the end, Marie is able to defeat, or for now, get Still Life to be incapacitated. Async takes it in for research, and we'll talk about that in the Async video, by the way, what exactly they're trying to do. Mary does eventually get questioned by Async, as we see at the end of the film. They want to know more of her experience down there. They never really counted on Clark coming in here. I believe this is when they're finding out just recently about probably these null zones that are probably scattered throughout, and they're just trying to close as many of these doors down. They don't want this to get out there, so I don't think it looks good for Mary. It doesn't seem that she's making it out of here from this research facility at all. And of course, we see the copy of her in the Backrooms, but I think that her herself as a real person is probably not getting out of here at all, whether that's her just being imprisoned by Async or her just ultimately getting killed because she just knows way too much at this point. But by the end, we see that the Backrooms have made a copy of her, as they do with everything, and this copy is just doomed to be here as just a memory of what happened. But ultimately, that is who Mary is. She is this person that is trying to do right for her mother by doing right for others. Her mother never got the attention or got the therapy work needed for her to be better, she feels. And maybe she is just trying to be there for somebody else. In this case, of course, it is Clark, who clearly has suffered so much due to the losses in his life and just everything that has gone wrong for him that he feels. So she's making amends for her mother by being there for others, and ultimately decides that it's not working because she hasn't even been there for herself. She is still reeling from this childhood trauma that happened to her. I thought she was such an interesting character. I was really hoping that she would be able to reach Clark, which she does, but of course Clark has this epiphany a bit too late because the pirate Clark Still Life comes in and just chomps on him and kills him, which I thought was just crazy. One of the scariest moments in the films, for sure. But Mary really tried her best. She tried with Clark, but ultimately it just didn't work. Just wanted to make a difference in the world because there wasn't a difference that was made for her mom, so she just wanted to do that for others. Came to the conclusion that she cannot save Clark, and maybe she can't even save anybody else because she hasn't saved herself, which she's able to do at the end, but like I said, a bit too late. But those are my thoughts and my opinions on Mary, a character that was trying to help as many people as she could, and Clark was her focus in this movie, and ultimately it helped her realize her own childhood trauma and just how much it has held her back as well. Eventually she's able to let go, but now she is in the hands of Async, so it is not looking good for Mary. But let me know your thoughts and opinions on Mary. I'll talk about Clark and Async as well this weekend, so stay tuned for those videos. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you never miss out on a video. Follow us wherever you can, whether it's on TikTok, Letterboxd, or Instagram, or just here on YouTube. It's totally fine. I will see all of you next time. Hit that subscribe button. 50,000 subscribers is our goal. Stay safe, stay positive.